Just getting that one right off the board. One of the champions that Faker plays that we haven't seen BDD pick up is actually that Lysandra. So that could always be something that comes in. Maybe if BDD gets the Azir, Faker doesn't get something else that he might want that he plays pretty frequently. The Lulu might be banned away here. So could just go back to that Lysandra.
I think we're going to see a first pick Kindred here from SK Telecom. Just knowing this team's style and also taking away from bubbling is very valuable. That's why they're banning the Poppy right now, because they don't want to first pick it for Duke. Yep. So Kalista or Kindred are likely to be the first picks here if CJ does not ban the Kindred themselves.
It also takes the Poppy away from Untara, who's been playing a good amount of that, and then that kind of relegates him. I think we saw him entirely on Maokai in the last set that CJ played.
Yeah, they've been prioritizing Maokai generally more these days. They started out prioritizing Maokai, then they went to Poppy for a while. 10 games of Poppy, 9 games of Maokai for Untara this season. And there's the Kalista ban, so yes, they're definitely going for a Kindred.
Yep, GP, second ban from CJ. Now the last one coming in. Do they ban the Kindred? Do they ban the Lulu? What's it going to be? Still a lot on the board. It's actually going to be Corki. So Lulu is available.
Oh, wow.
And wow, that's such a bold lock-in. It's going to be the Azir right off the bat.
Well, obviously, Azir was going to be a highly contested pick. I expected it to be banned. And they're going to give up the Kindred in favor of the Azir. Now, this should force BDD perhaps onto a Lulu. Unless he's feeling super bold and wants to try and play Zed into it.
That would be one hell of a way to start a matchup between these two.
I would love to see that.
Azir versus the Zed.
To see that.
Please. But yeah, Bubbling has to take the Kindred. If they don't take Kindred and they lock Gragas, I will just throw my pen across the room.
No, they're going to take the Kindred. That's been the priority for Bubbling when they can actually get it. And when Bubbling, like you're saying, has been on Gragas, it's been really hit or miss. It's not that he hasn't had good Gragas games, he has. But
it's more misses than hits, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's been very inconsistent. And they're going to take the Sivir away as well.
Strong pickup for Kramer, but it could be the Lucian in the end, and it will be. So this is a champion that he's been playing a hell of a lot of in the recent weeks, and he's been doing insanely well, carrying CJ to that victory against Longzhu with that Lucian.
It's time for some Cloud Templar trolling. Blank is learning the ways. So, CJ has yet to play a single game of Sivir, but it's become an increasingly big pick for SK Telecom and for the Rocks Tigers. And with good reason, I think it's one of the best picks right now. Just offers you so much in terms of wave clear and damage and team fights. Easy to play around with an Azir or a Lulu.
Yeah, it would just be so good for Kramer because he's an AD carry that can put out consistent damage, and his positioning is typically very well placed. So if he got somebody like Sivir, I'm sure he would play it to a T, but he goes back to the Lucian, so it is something that he's just very comfortable on. And now we can see this hover over the Zed already. Could get locked in, but flipping through the options, thinking about it.
I think you should do it.
I think you just go for it as well. I fully support it. But Nautilus and Trundle for SKT, so flexible picks there for the support and the top lane. So not showing their hand. So far, a good draft from SKT.
Probably not going to play the Trundle top here. If you want Azir, you're going to be trying to probably play Graves and Sivir, I would assume, and then play around the Azir wall. Suppose you can play Gragas too, it doesn't really matter. You've got the disruption with the Azir wall already to get people off of the Kindred ult alongside the Trundle pillar. So Lamb's Respite going to be hard to stay on top of for CJ Entus, and you could just make it even harder with the explosive cask.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if the Gragas does come in. But it's going to be Bard and LeBlanc for BDD, so LeBlanc versus the Azir.
Seen a lot of bans of Bard against Mad Life this season. This is going to be BDD's second game on LeBlanc. His first game was a win.
I think this is only the second game of Bard for Mad Life in round 2.
Yeah, he's played Bard 5 times this season, 4-1 on the champion. It has been one of his best and something that people don't have a lot of answers to, but they're setting up for a pick composition here, CJ is. They're not going to try and fight this 5v5. It's going to be Ezreal instead for Bang, a pick that we do not see very frequently these days. Takes a little bit too long to get going, especially when there's a Sivir, but safer in the matchup against the Lucian for sure. You're going to be more at range farming your Mystic shots, so in case they do get that 2v2, it may not be quite so punishing. And top lane Gragas?
Yeah, this would be. Saw the hover over the rise, but just don't think we're going to see it.
Yeah, I think you go Maokai here. It fits better with your pick composition than the Gragas does. That way you have reliable stuns in the side lanes to set up for LeBlanc roams and for Kindred ganks. So I definitely agree with the Maokai. You also bring a little bit more team fighting into the mix.
Yeah, looks like this is going to get locked in, and this is Untara's champion.
Yeah, he was the one who was playing it when no one else was earlier this season. When we kicked off the league all the way back in January. And now it's going to be broken. You're right. You're absolutely right there, Achilleo. So SK Telecom going back to the Ezreal. It's been a while since they've had their last Ezreal pickup, even though it's Bang's second most played champion this season. So 9 picks so far, right after the Lucian.
Yeah.
But it's been, it's only, I suppose, been about 10 days since his last Ezreal win versus Jin Air, but very few people playing it.
Yep. Kramer was one of the biggest players of it.
That's right.
Had an entire best of 3, a 3-game set where he did not die with that Ezreal.
A lot of people will, of course, remember Bang's Ezreal from IEM Katowice, where it was magnificent, and he continues to make it work just because he's so good at playing that champion, weaving auto attacks in between all of the spells. Just takes some time to get going, and we'll see if SK Telecom will try and execute on the lane swap here. Duke back onto the Nautilus. Looking better with his TP play against Longzhu than he did against Rox, where he was constantly a step behind Smeb.
Yep. Well, 2 very aggressive jungle champions here at Graves and Kindred, so we'll see who's going to make the first move, try to invade on the enemy, and maybe find first blood for their team and get that early advantage. If SKT can do that over CJ, be pretty bad for them, but let's go straight into the game. Game 1, CJ versus SK Telecom.
Mother Nature, everybody wants to lose.
That was pretty even. I don't even know who you could give it over to. Both sides of the audience completely split down the middle, cheering for their teams. Like you mentioned earlier, the 2 biggest fan bases here in Korea for these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, CJ with the... Both these teams have a lot of legacy going back to Brood War, and of course CJ, really the first dominant team in Korea with Blaze and Frost, and then SK Telecom. 4-time champions winner, 2-time world champion.
Yep.
So, a lot of fans based on their victories, and of course, Faker, greatest League of Legends player of all time. How can you not like that? So, it's going to be a little bit interesting. We see Trundle moving up towards that top side. Looks like Ezreal sticking around on the bottom side of the map right now. Wolf trying to see what he can see here. Interesting start. Ezreal now moving up into the top side jungle. This could be really bad, actually, for SKT if they don't get the disruption right here. Trundle's going to head in first and check the red buff.
Well, they're spotted by this ward.
Yeah, so Bang's going to look at the Raptors. So can they get around in time? Kramer and Madlife are just going to... no, they're going to go for it, but there is a ward there just placed by Wolf.
Yep.
You're going to see the Krugs, and a small Krug will go over. Bang is going to take the small Raptors, though, so he will get a little bit of experience. A nice little play there.
Yep. Good stuff. And actually, Madlife actually got the little Krug. It wasn't even Kramer that took that one.
Well, got the experience. That's what matters.
Yeah, so that'll be the most important thing. But yeah, gonna have to show some respect to that level 1 Bard. Get that stun with the Thunderlord's proc. It's a hell of a lot of damage. And even just a piercing light with a double tap will follow up quite nicely for Kramer's Lucian.
And Bang and Wolf are just going to have to fall back right here. They can't deal with the damage. I mean, you can see Madlife with the fast level 2 playing very conservatively. Bang there hitting 2 from the small Raptors. Now we're just about evened up, though. BDD taking a lot of poke early.
Yeah,
Thunderlords
already
doing some work.
already losing that passive. That'll go on a cooldown for about a minute. So Faker doing a good job poking him out, and you can see the CS already. But a big wave is crashing in here for BDD, so he'll be able to pick up a little bit of that, but Faker is still establishing a pretty good CS lead.
Justifying the first pick Azir, and it was BDD who really reintroduced the Azir in the mid lane.
Yeah. So a bit of a bold statement coming out from Faker if he wins this game, especially if he crushes this lane at the least. Saying, you know, I'll first pick this champion that you brought back.
I was really surprised to see that first pick Azir. I did not think that would be the big priority for SK Telecom, especially since just SKT as a team historically almost never, except for Lulu, will first pick a mid laner. And even Lulu at least is a flex pick.
Yeah.
So you're not actually showing your hand too much. That is how confident they are in Faker's Azir these days, though. And it's well warranted, but here we go.
Coming forward. He actually flashes in to try to get the slow off from the red buff onto Faker. Quite low. Mad Life on the roam down as well. Faker just going to have to blow the flash. Mad Life chasing with that magical journey. Should be able to get the kill here. Slows him up, takes him down. First blood over to CJ. Mad Life with the roam.
Yeah, Faker just not anticipating Mad Life being able to get out of that lane faster, but since they have more power, they were able to push it up. Mad Life able to follow, having that magical journey already level 3. So he does have all of his abilities, and timing couldn't have been worse there for Faker. Uses 2 summoners, he's trying to bully BDD, and now BDD is going to have much easier time in this matchup. Worth noting that this is Blank's first game on Graves professionally.
Yeah. So trying his hand at it, we'll see how it's going to work out. He already has done a little bit of invading, took away the Raptors from Bubbling. But Bubbling, I'm sure is going to be quite happy with that since he picked up the assist in the mid lane. Already goes back, picks up that Skirmisher Saber as we expected.
So Faker, we know he loves to play aggressively. Sometimes he goes overboard, and that was one of those times. Trying just a little bit too hard right there. And also, you know, being a bit greedy, he took some more damage because he decided to bend over to his soldier, use that shifting sands instead of just going ahead and flashing right immediately out.
Yep.
So with that extra damage, the support able to finish him off. Mad Life didn't even have to use his ignite.
Yeah, it was
It's
one
bonus.
summoner. It was just the flash from Bubbling to initially engage onto Faker.
That worked really well. Great collapse from Mad Life, but that's what we expect. Mad Life and Gorilla really have been the best support players in Korea this season. Been everywhere on the map, and there's a reason why Mad Life is number 3 in kill contribution out of all players, because he's there, just like that.
Making things happen for his team. Good old Mad Life. Bubbling, though, just looking to scale up. Falling a bit behind in CS compared to Blank here. Blank going for the Tracker's Knife, so much more standard. Doesn't want that Skirmisher Saber, but Bubbling maybe looking for a gank onto Duke. Is a Maokai versus a Nautilus, so not much damage has been exchanged to that bot side.
Duke actually knows that he's down on this bottom side of the map because they have the deep wards in, they have a Graves running around the top side, so there's very limited places he could be.
Yep.
Not even going to walk up and try and take this wave, just patiently soaking XP in the bush and then going to freeze it right in front of his own turret. So really intelligent play there from Duke.
BDD goes in on a Faker. He has the Ignite ticking. Bubbling arriving as well. Can it burn him out? One more tick. It's not going to happen. Bubbling on the chase, dashes forward, but here comes Blank. Flashes in. The Q not going to land, but the Sand Soldier goes forward. And Bubbling, one more auto attack will take him down. That's going to be the pillar. He leaps away. He's just trying to run for his life. I don't think he's going to get out of here, though. The flash forward by Wolf. The exhaust, and he actually chomps him. Wolf taking the kill. But aggressive stuff from CJ getting turned on its head by SKT.
Wow, BDD used both summoners to try and kill Faker right there. Couldn't follow up. Faker now going for the Negatron cloak, so a lot of action. This is what we wanted to see between BDD and Faker in the mid lane, was this back and forth, a lot of tension, exciting laning phase. It's a good thing we got the standard lanes this game, so we can actually see a lot of roams and ganks there early on in the mid lane, and it will be 1 kill for 1 kill each time a support coming down to pick it up.
That's very true.
But I love it.
Mad Life had to take the kill. Wolf probably should have and could have given that over to Blank.
I think you just, because the Kindred Dash is going to be coming up, you know, it's just better to be secure on that one.
I suppose.
Blank was just a little bit of a step behind. And BDD going for the more aggressive build, blasting wand. Meanwhile, Faker Just trying to sit there and farm right now.
Well, this is what we've come to expect from BDD. It took him a while. It took him a couple games to even build an Abyssal Scepter. He just went straight Gnasher's Tooth on his Azir and then didn't buy anything defensive for a while. But he's going to keep it consistent and go for that Blasting Wand to start things off.
Yeah, ward coverage still really good for SKT in the top side of the map. They are the only team with the deep wards right now, so they can play a little bit more freely around the river. And are they going to take out this pink ward in the river too, as we see Bang recalling, picking up his tier. And this is where this matchup for Lucian is going to get pretty bad for Ezreal. Sheen tier to BF sword, not great. Kramer and Madlife have a lot of burst damage.
Yep.
Play cautiously.
Yeah,
wow, Cole too. Wow, Bang really, he is committing to this stacking.
Yeah, he is going all in on the long haul for this game. It'll be a nice payout, but it's potentially and likely going to be heavily punished. Madlife just going to have to predict the arcane shifts to try to get those stuns down with the Cosmic Binding. If he can do that, Bang will just die.
Yeah, he's highly diveable too once Madlife hits 6. That's another problem.
Yeah.
So Blank is going to have to play heavily around the top side here and really make sure that he gets the wards in with Wolf. Otherwise, you never know who's going to be coming on through the river and trying to make the play after a possible Bard ultimate comes into the lane. And it's farming tanks in the bot lane. Nobody cares.
Yeah, we'll just ignore those guys until the teleports start coming in. That's when they'll become relevant. And hopefully we just don't see any teleports like we did from Trace in the very first minutes of the last game yesterday. Oh, Faker going in, gets that Thunderlord's proc, BDD being taken quite low. Blank arriving as well. This is actually going to be the first 2 teleports coming in. Do they get canceled? No, Untara finishes one. He finishes the channel, but Duke cancels his. Untara's just going to have to waddle back to lane. Really interesting decisions and not cancel that.
Yeah, Untara definitely should have canceled that coming through. Duke with the later TP, so he did have the opportunity about a second during which to cancel and just make sure that that's going to come up faster. So possible play with a TP advantage for SK Telecom in a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, BDD made it out, and he had about 2 seconds to just cancel that. That was really odd. So TP burned out, and that's going to give Duke a little bit more time in that bot side. But still suffering a little bit as far as the CS goes.
And you can see Bang really not even walking up there onto the Lucian, just Wolf zoning away Kramer, and they're trying just to get the freeze going right next to their tier 1 turret. That way they aren't in quite as much danger. They actually have taken a gold lead. SK Telecom 500 ahead right now. Take a look, and just a little bit ahead thanks to that Cull in the bottom side. So farm going really well. Blank has been out farming Bubbling by a significant margin.
Yeah, and it's been that way since the start of the game. At first it was okay because Bubbling had just picked up that assist off the first blood onto Faker, but now with 1-1 on kills, it's giving much more of an advantage over to Blank. Oh, and this is Faker going in.
He's so aggressive, but this is how he makes these picks. Like, if you are anywhere close to him, he has no hesitation about bouncing you around with that Emperor's Divide. Graves would be waiting there with an end of the line for you, straight into the Azir wall. So you really have to respect that. And Bubbling does. He just blows his flash immediately. He doesn't flash right there, he's probably dead.
Yeah, I mean, you know where everybody else is on the enemy team, so why not just dash into him? Because the worst case scenario is that you do get that summoner spell. Yeah, that's it. So
I just love the way Faker's been playing Azir. He never played it this way before. Back when EasyHoon was that main Azir player, Faker looks good, but nowhere near as good as EasyHoon or Coco. And now Faker coming out, and he's turned Azir into a pick champion, which is not something that anybody else does at this point in time. That is his speciality. BDD's been great on it, but much more focused on the team fights. However, SK Telecom nearly took that game off the Rocks Tigers, and most of that was because Faker could just ambush prey from outside the fog of war, killed him a couple times, and stretched the duration of the game out to a point where SKT nearly came back and won.
Yeah. And then we saw what happened to Jin Air when SKT played against them. That was filthy.
Yep. Ezreal came out then too, so.
Yep.
It's been that special pick for SKT.
Yeah, still just 500, 600 around that area, just separating these teams. So still really close. And like you said, CJ, type of team that wants to just hang on as long as they can for that late game. Faker going to lose a bit of HP in that trade. BDD going aggressive. Good stuff from him. We can see the Abyssal Scepter has been completed by both. Pretty much dead even outside of the boots.
Giving him a chomp in the ass on his way out.
Yep. And don't come back.
Well, Ezreal with the Manamune now. And a little bit of a jungle steal here. Huge number of wards.
Yeah, they are controlling that bot side of the jungle.
Yeah.
CJs.
I mean, really the vision advantage has been going over to SK Telecom this game. And we see that once again. So they could always set up for some sort of dive onto the Maokai. Faker continually putting pressure on this bottom side. Now bubbling.
They're going to try to replicate the steal.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, Duke is coming around the sides. They do smite it out. But Magical Journey gets laid down. Blank not going to arrive in time, and BDD there to back up the team, so they will be able to get the steal.
Yeah, no blue onto BDD, so at least it's something for SK Telecom, and they force them back out of their jungle, getting very limited number of wards in.
Yep. Still advantageous for SK Telecom. But just been a farm fest up in this top side, and I'm sure Bang is going to be really thankful for that. Went a very greedy build, and it's going to quite literally pay off for him.
Right. Back to scaling. I love
Okay.
Ezreal scaling, but
Ooh.
CJ needs to start doing things. Like, they're running a pick composition. Certainly they can team fight in the late game, but they don't have the same amount of front line that SK Telecom does.
Oh, Faker getting chained up. He gets locked up underneath the tower, and BDD gonna take him down. Solo kill onto Faker. Solid stuff. You see Faker got with that little grin on his face, just like, well, all right.
Didn't use his heal. You know, he was confident. The ignite was used. Tried to just to flash away right there. Chose not to use that heal in the end. So a bit of cockiness, and that's going to cost him. First kill of the game for BDD, and that's going to be a solo kill. But
Yep.
SK Telecom is going to respond with some heavy pressure in the top side, and they haven't, you know, they've killed Faker a couple times, but nobody's been slowing down Bang. And realistically, with Trundle and Nautilus, take a look at that again. There's the Q, double Q, and he's trying to poke out this wave. But remember, he has heal and flash. BDD has both summoners as well. Moves his Sand Soldiers around. BDD comes in, and there we go. Little chain, and then, oh, just going back with the ignite.
Yep.
Pretty easy, actually.
Solid stuff by BDD. Can only imagine the memes that'll come out of this if CJ take the series. Look at me.
What does BDD
I'm the best player now.
I'm the Faker now.
Yeah, I'm the Faker now. Oh, Faker, nice dash.
Wow,
We'll
really
get out of
nice.
there, but do they still go? The chain's connected, and Faker's gonna die yet again. Great arrival by Mad Life.
Mad Life had the ignite that time.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Faker.
Two kills on
get
Faker
rocked.
in under a minute and a half.
Well, they know where they're strong, and this is great for CJ. CJ with a strong LeBlanc can make the picks that they need. Duke putting on the pressure here. Mad Life wants to come in from behind. Duke just
he
trying
will
to get out.
stun him in the wall. Duke's going to take a bit of damage. Untar and Bubbling now arriving. They're going to all in on this Nautilus. He's got nowhere to go. He falls. That's going to be a kill over for Kramer. And just like that, 3 kills up for CJ. But still only a little bit of gold ahead as they're going to trade these towers.
Yeah, they're making plays and they're getting the kills, but they're trading evenly in objectives, and they're still a little bit behind when it comes to farm, especially in the jungle. And that's where it's making a big, big difference now for SK Telecom. SKT also a turret up.
Yep.
So they've been able to maintain that gold advantage, but they have fallen behind just a hair at the moment. But really for CJ, the player they needed to be ahead was LeBlanc. LeBlanc, one of those champions of the current meta, where if she gets a couple of these kills early on and starts to get ahead, she can pick off many members of SK Telecom or just chunk them out, but SKT better on the rotations.
Oh, well, CJ going to try to defend this tower. The chain connects to Blank. He uses the ultimate. It will push him back far enough to disconnect it, but this turret's ready to go down. That Sheen proc from Bang will make very quick work of the remaining HP on this.
Yeah, SK Telecom, they've misplayed some of these situations. The ganks have been good. Mad Life's roaming has been excellent, but CJ has paid for it by just not exerting a lot of pressure, not shutting down the Ezreal, and now they're going to lose another turret.
Yep, gonna go down. You have the Arise from Faker plus that damage. Bang though, gets slowed out. Tar goes deep, finds Blank, who has to flash away. Hex Trigger gets popped. Mad Life gonna throw out the ultimate, but it's just gonna whiff. Emperor's Divide to try to keep him away. Faker has to dash to safety as Kramer is advancing, and that's gonna be the disengaged CJ. Unfortunately, not able to get any kills, almost finishing off both Blank and Faker. And meanwhile, Duke creating some pressure up in that top side of the map.
Yeah, they're going to lose a lot of CS as a result of this. CJ will return and take out that mid lane tier 1 turret, but they're not going to get anything else really for their trouble.
Yep.
As Duke now walks down into the mid lane. And take a look at this disengage again. Very low mana. See Bang have to get over that wall with the Arcane Shift, and Tara's going to come in. Now they're just trying to get away. Blank very low. Emperor's Divide comes through. Flash out from Bang.
Yep.
From the Bard ultimate, and that's about it. Pillar on the rest of the disengage. They had to use a lot of summoners to get that done though, so CJ has some plays that they can make onto Bang and Blank in the coming minutes. They only used a flash on Antara themselves. That's a pretty nice trade for them.
Yep. But dead even in gold, and SKT is up that tower in the bot side.
Yeah.
So if CJ can just match these objectives, they would have a little bit of a gold lead.
Realistically, too, the scaling, I think, is better for SK Telecom here with the Azir and the Ezreal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, obviously, you know, LeBlanc, with how far ahead she is, going to be relevant well into the late game, and Kindred will be good. And Lucian, probably the biggest carry that they are going to have late, but uh-oh, they're going to get caught out by a Cosmic Binding.
Tara's going in here, follows him with the Twisted Advance, but now Tara way too deep in enemy territory, gonna go down. Blank finishes him off with that collateral damage. BDD cannot get over onto Bang as he just jumps away with that Arcane Shift. Oh, BDD going in for Wolf, jumps back, should be able to get that kill. Oh, actually, it's gonna be the Relic Shield charges keeping him alive. Nice by Wolf to identify his way out of that situation.
I think he got a chomp on one of those minions too. So
yeah.
Wow. Well, that was close.
That was both summoners from BDD to try to kill the support of SKT.
Well, that's what you do. He learned that one from Faker. Just go ahead, use your LeBlanc to get fed off of the supports, those squishy supports. Wolf actually, though, really smart, building the Aegis first this game. And they really do need that item to survive against the Fed LeBlanc. They know where the power is right now.
Yep.
Get that extra MR onto everybody else. Bang, as we can see, getting closer to that Mana Mune, but not just there yet.
You should have it pretty soon. That's where you're hitting 21 minutes. Hex Drinker as well coming out from him, so just going to be surviving as long as possible. Second item, Sterix for bubbling as well, so looking to be able to skirmish and stay in these fights for extended periods of time.
Interesting that CJ actually has the first dragon.
Yeah, they're looking to pick up the second potentially here.
Yeah, CJ actually is the worst team in the entire league in Korea when it comes to first dragon. They have a 33% first dragon rate, so they get first dragon once out of every 3 games, so they rarely scale to 5th dragon, even with their long average game time.
Well, that's going to be the second one. Nice Bard ultimate under 2 members. It's Blank and Faker getting locked up. Emperor's Divide pushes BDD and Mad Life over the wall. Collateral damage gets thrown out. Tara is just pinned in there, nowhere to go. And they just decimate him, back him into a corner and beat the hell out of him. That's just cruel. That's like schoolyard bullying.
Let's put him into the punishment chamber.
Yeah.
Right with a bunch of soldiers.
The hyperbolic get your ass kicked chamber.
I believe that one's in Guantanamo Bay.
Yes, it is actually. But look at this, SKT. No tank for CJ. They're just going to go ahead and start up this Baron. Throw out The scrying orb, they know it's there, they know it's happening, but it's already below half HP. Throw the pink over the wall, and the SKT, thinking better of it, gonna go ahead and back off.
Yeah, you'll notice Bang, he's not quite scaled up yet, doesn't have the Muramana. He's gone for a Hex Drinker just because BDD is such a threat in this game. Need to really itemize against that particular champion. Blank of a similar mind, and this is where CJ's going to encounter some trouble. Yes, BDD's very fed right now, but they have to keep this up. They have to continue to get these picks, because if they don't, by the time it comes to the late game, everybody's going to have Mob Malmortius and Mercurial Scimitar, and then they're going to be sad.
Yep. Well, key thing to note, at about 22 minutes, Bubbling did get sated. So that's going to be a big spike in his damage. So we'll see where he wants to go now, because Asterix has already been completed, so he could go for the Blade of the Rune King, maybe a Maul of Malmortius himself to try to mitigate that damage that Faker's outputting in these fights.
Duke not going to be a slouch either. Duke with the Banshee's Veil this game.
Yeah.
A little bit different. That's against the LeBlanc poke. Does get caught out, because that's what CJ wants to do, is to poke somebody with LeBlanc and then take an objective afterwards.
Yep.
They have 2 dragons. It's going to be pretty late to get 5 dragons, because first dragon came in relatively late this game, but...
Well, CJ's all about those long games.
That's true, they are. But they rarely know what to do with dragon stacking. It's the other facet of it. But they've got to do more. They've got to continue to get vision down, set up the picks. It's their ticket to victory. Playing a long game against SK Telecom when they can build a lot of magic resist and then just out-damage you with the Ezreal and the Azir is not a great option for CJ.
Yeah. Looks like it's going to be a third item. Rabadon's Death Cap for BDD. Has the Blasting Wand and the Needlessly Large Rod already in the inventory, so be able to complete that pretty soon. Faker opting to just go for the Sorcerer's Boots. So we'll delay his damage a little bit more, but we see the Needlessly Large Rod picked up for him. Not sure where that's going to go. Could be the Zonia's Hourglass if he wants to play a little bit more defensively.
I'm curious what that's going to do too. I would buy Rylai's, but
Rylai's Crystals, that's another one. I keep forgetting that is the build path now. I'm thinking classic Rylai's.
Yeah. Everything is Needlessly Large Rod now.
Pretty much.
But yes, I just think with when you're trying to avoid the LeBlanc burst and you have 2 other carries on your team, you really just want to peel for Bang and Blank here, and playing the Rylai's is probably the best choice. Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of damage on it. Kramer throws out the True Shot Barrage, not going to be able to connect. The tower goes down, and BDD was up on the top side splitting as LeBlanc. They're just going to lose that tier 2.
Yeah, this is SK Telecom, though. They're showing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Baker going in to make a play. Bubbling gets caught, has to throw down the Lambs for Spite. Bard Ultimate catches 3 members. Bubbling still there, jumps away, but it's too little too late. Baker finishes him off with the Sand Soldier. BDD coming around from the sidelines, gets spotted by that ward, however. They know exactly where he is. And this is SKT starting to take charge of this game. BDD going in, locks him down. The chain does not connect, however, and BDD's going to have to go on the run.
Wow.
Sand Soldier almost finishes him off. One more auto attack would have done the trick.
Yeah, Faker just getting right in BDD's face, so he couldn't actually land that chain very effectively, and then just chasing him out. Both players ending up very low, but that's the kind of pick that Faker can pull off. It's just, like, you think you're safe. There's no reason for Bubbling to believe that he's going to die right now.
You're never safe.
You are never safe. Faker doesn't have to flash for it even, just bends the Soldier up and they lock him down. Bard Ultimate on top of the Kindred Ultimate.
Barely clipped Bubbling as well in that one. So, not exactly the Bard Ultimate that Mad Life wanted to connect.
Could have gone better, that's for sure. But that's a kill there for SKT. And SKT taking that second turret in the mid lane, punishing BDD split pushing, and their presence on the map is really what I think sets SK Telecom apart in the late game. When we talked about CJ's late game, it's about team fighting. It's about getting together and forcing the fights around Baron or around objectives. SK Telecom, the way they win in the late game, or with the way they start to pull away with a gold lead, is by doing things like this, making cross-map plays, getting the objectives uncontested.
Oh, Mad Life has to go on a magical journey. He will stay safe. We can see the Raptor Cloak picked up for Duke.
It's coming.
It's time for the shenanigans.
Yeah, I love shenanigans.
So we will be seeing the portal fairly soon.
We'll enjoy it while we're still on patch 6.5 before it gets nerfed into oblivion.
Yep. Can you imagine if it gave you gold when the...
Yeah, it's really the 5-hit thing that's going to make it
Yeah.
less appealing.
Yeah,
Just
it's...
put it down and forget it.
Yeah, because it's so good against when you're splitting against a Maokai.
tank,
You just
yeah.
can't do anything.
It takes forever to clear it
Yeah.
out.
Poppy probably the one tank in this meta that can do, because she does build that Frozen Fist all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you can build Iceborne on many things. We've seen it on the Nautilus quite a few times, but yes, generally speaking,
It's a little less common for the Naut,
Yep, indeed it is.
but it is almost infinite slows in CC, so it's pretty good.
I like it too. Plus, the Iceborne Gauntlet freezing field gets bigger based on your HP. So it's really effective on these tanks. You know, it's great on Ezreal, but it's kind of like a little puddle as opposed to a giant frozen lake like you get with some of these other champions that tend to itemize more tanky.
It's still damn good on the Ezreal though. It's a must-have. He's been my go-to champ when I need to carry a game in solo queue so far in Korea, because everybody just wants to play these insane tanks and these bruisers right now at my elo. So you just get the Ezreal and they can never catch you.
Oh, that's right. It scales with armor, not with HP.
Oh, is it the armor?
Yeah, it's the armor. But when we have, of course, you know, the Zerat portal and the Sunfire Cape coming in, can be good. Of course, on the Nautilus.
That was a recent change, was it not? For the Iceborne Gauntlet?
I don't remember when that change was made.
I feel like it was a couple patches ago. Like, maybe a couple months, but I don't know. I can't, it's hard to tell what happens with these items when they get changed unless you really review the patch notes inside and out. Sometimes it just slips your mind because I can't just read the item when I'm playing the game because it's all in Korean.
Yeah.
I just see a number.
You could
and I'm
change
like,
the language to English, you know.
I should
Does that
do
limit the regional flavor that you aspire to, Achilleos?
No, I just need to figure out the mapping the menus so I can actually find the language option.
No, you have to change it within the game file itself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's, oh, you know what? I did try something like that the first couple nights, and it was like, yeah, do this, and then all it did was just change my connection to the North American servers.
Oh, no. You can do it. You can do it.
I'll have
Trust me, you can change the language. Unfortunately,
I'll have to Google that.
Unfortunately, then all the Korean comes out as boxes, which is terrible because, you know, I would like to be able to have the game in English and be able to read what my teammates are actually saying in Korean because I understand most of the game terms that they're using. So
Yeah.
I either have to choose between everything's in Korean.
Well, for me, it doesn't matter.
boxes, or boxes. It's really annoying.
See, what I'll do is I'll just pretend that the boxes are them saying nice things like they're giving me gifts.
Yes, that is actually, it actually helps you not tilt because then you don't get to see all the mean things that they say to you
Yeah.
in Korean.
See, it's I'm just imagining that it's nothing but puppies and rainbows, and that they want to just give me these gifts because you're doing so well, Achilleos.
Little boxes, little presents for you.
Yeah.
Presents in chat. Nice.
I will just live in that little bubble.
It's good. Got to keep a positive mindset, you know.
Yeah, I actually haven't had many tilt moments so far. There's a few. Caitlyn Jungle kind of upset me. That one triggered me just a bit, but outside of that,
how many teleport smite master Yis have you encountered so far?
none.
Really?
I've encountered
Impressive.
Master Yi in almost every game, but not TP Smite Yi. That was an
That's
NA special when I was playing in NA.
Yeah, that was the Korea special for sure. You'd see it like every game for a while.
Yeah, that would do it. That would do it for me.
It wouldn't be a Korea server game without Blitzcrank support every game and one TP Smite Master Yi in every game.
Had weirder supports. Had Alawi. And I don't understand Alawi right now because she is so popular in the lower elos.
That's so weird.
And they just crush everyone. It's absurd.
Maybe you should learn the secrets, the tentacle secrets.
I get, like, it's just so bizarre because two people go up, like you get your top laner and then you get your jungler to go in and gank her, and then she just gets a solo double kill. And you wonder, how did this happen? How did you do this? How did you mess up so badly?
I want to see her in pro play. But
that'd be great. I mean, I know that Riot right now is considering doing changes because it's the only champion release that they've really had that didn't get put into pro play within a couple months or so. Bard ultimate gets thrown out, does find blank. Don't think they're going to be able to capitalize on that. However, the TP coming in from Duke. He does cancel it. It's just going to continue to split out that bot side. SKT postured up in this mid lane with the sand tower.
yeah, they have to be careful. They can't commit now with the TP down. So the best thing they can do is just cut off this minion wave and slowly push it in. See if they can land some lucky poke here and wait for these minion waves to come up. But Maokai there, so BDD, it's a nice chance to chunk out Wolf with the mimicked sigil.
Yeah, but Bang is just firing off on this tower. We'll be getting a decent amount of damage in. Sand tower goes down, so that alleviates a little bit of pressure here for CJ. Nuntara has to split on the bot side, so now TP advantage is there for this Maokai. Gets to try to clear out that Zerat portal, and here comes Duke. Not sure if he's going to be able to find anything, though, and SKT just shoves CJ out of their mid lane. They're going to continue this push.
Wow. Nope.
Oh, no.
They're going to go Baron.
Okay.
Oh, the bait. There's no vision around the Baron for CJ, and they're on the wrong side. Are they going to bait this, or are they going to do it?
They have to throw out Scrying Orbs. They already used one near
There's
the
one.
red
Okay, they know
buff.
they're not doing Baron. Okay,
Yeah.
well, the excitement's over.
Well, maybe not. SKT could pinch down. Magical Journey thrown out. Kramer going to take that one. And this is actually going to be CJ going over for the third dragon.
not.
But they have to just bounce straight back because SKT are just going to keep threatening the Baron.
Yeah, they can't do this dragon. They'd have to send just Kramer down there. They wouldn't have enough damage. And here we go. Very fast Baron attempt here from
Huge
SKT.
fight. Yeah, that's going to be the Bard
Banshee's
ultimate thrown
Veil
out.
blocked
Yeah,
the Bard ult.
doesn't catch him. Mad Life split off from his team. Going to take that Magical Journey to get himself to safety. And this is just both teams hovering around these big map objectives. They could just split. I mean, if they didn't see the recall from Faker. If they had seen that, they could have just split and gone straight for the dragon. But it's not going to be so.
Unfortunate.
Unlucky.
Bang, though, in a really good place with this Ezreal build now,
Yeah, going for the
Exactly.
Blade of the Rune King, it looks like.
where he wants to be. Wolf has decided he has enough MR to deal with the LeBlanc, and therefore now trying to get an item that will be useful to stop the late game damage from this Kindred and the Lucian with the Frozen Heart.
Yep, and that's going to be the second dragon, rather, for SK Telecom.
Wow, rapid fire cannon for Blank. That is, it's like he just really wants that additional range.
That is interesting. for
Yeah,
the
I
Braves.
thought he would be rushing that Maw of Malmortius.
Yeah, just fine with the Hexdrinker for now, I suppose. Doesn't want the Maul quite just yet. We'll see where else he wants to go with this. Graves builds have been a little flexible. We've seen, Death Stance come out, Bloodthirsters here and there.
Yeah, Death Stance
So-
would not be bad here. I don't know about this rapid fire cannon in this situation. I don't know if I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah.
You really just need to make sure that Blank, or BDD rather, is not going to pick you off. And having that Maw gives you a little bit more durability in those poke or team fight situations. And Tara, well, already would be dead on the new patch. Goodbye.
I can't wait for 6.6. This is stupid. He's got the Dirk as well, so let's see. Maybe he'll go for a Yomu's Ghostblade or something.
Well,
Not, ooh,
that used to be the primary Jungle Graves build, actually, was the
Yeah.
Yoma's Rush.
throwback.
But I think it's better just to have the durability these days, because when you get that extra HP, it's just so much better on Graves because of the extra stats he gets for armor and magic resist off of his quick draw. So the HP just really efficient on Graves, and he's going to do plenty of damage. And be surprisingly tanky in that front line and make sure that he gets more uses of his end of the line down. And I just think that it's a more stable build than going for the Ghost Blade, which has very small timing windows with which to use it with maximum efficiency, considering the item active.
Yep. Let's see. Faker has amassed a pretty sizable lead over BDD, 341 to 290 CS.
Yep, but Kramer, of course, the opposite, and that just goes to show how these teams work. We talked about the resources and where they kind of went on these teams and who was the big damage dealer, and then of course it is Faker and Kramer.
And keeping it consistent with their kill participation, at least these mid laners. 100% for Faker, and just shy of that, the 75% for BDD.
Dragging BDD's stat of 83.7% down. He's going to need another couple kill participations here. Make sure he can get above that margin again.
Yep. Looks like BDD and Mad Life trying to wait for somebody to come answer this wave in the top side.
Yeah, they're trying for a pick. This is what they should be doing.
Yeah, they are expending a lot of time, and SKT not seeing those members of CJ are playing very cautiously.
Wolf, aha! He found a Kindred, but he didn't find anybody else.
Yeah, but look at this. SKT
Uh-oh.
found a Baron.
Oh no!
They have no vision of this.
Oh,
dear
no.
Lord. That's going to be a heartbreaker for CJ. Mad Life and BDD now have to get out of here quickly.
Wow,
Oh, the Q doesn't connect. Looks like BDD will be able to make it out. Mad
that
Life's
is
still on the road.
so disappointing for CJ. They just didn't have any information. Now Mad Life caught out.
What are you going to do? He's just going to get caught. The pillar to block him from going in. He gets taken out. Oh, with that Baron take, SKT find the first real lead of this game. It's only been a few thousand separating the teams for now, and they stretched that to 4.7K.
At that point, it was going to be really hard for CJ to win with their composition anyway, when we consider how good at sieging SK Telecom is, how fast they can take the Baron, their superiority when it comes to straight-up team fighting. They didn't get the picks they needed, and they were just slowly falling behind. CJ also just losing some of these objectives, not having the proper lane assignments in the early game, which allowed SK Telecom to get a turret lead and a gold lead. SKT just playing the map better, frankly.
Yeah.
Dueling Voidlings.
Double Zerat portal. If only the Voidlings would just come out and immediately attack the other Zerat portal.
Yeah, why do they do that? Why do they have to fight in the minion wave?
It should just be this big arena brawl between Zerat minions killing each other. It's like a race. Which portal can kill the other one the fastest? That's pretty funny.
Stupid Zerat.
Soon to be, well, maybe not no more, but
Less.
yeah, significantly less viable.
Less prevalent, for sure. Wolf's here just lurking. He's got his cowl now. He's feeling good. No Void Staff yet for BDD. That is pretty late for Void Staff. For the Morellonomicon and the Death Cap. But without that Void Staff against all this MR that's stacking, Maw complete onto two members of
Locket's
SK
there.
Telecom. Locket is there. Faker is bending his way into the bottom side. His Abyssal Scepter. It'd be really hard for BDD to do much of anything at this stage.
I thought you were just going to say that Faker's there. Yeah, Faker just
he's there.
He's just innately a ton of magic damage.
Magic resist.
Magic resist.
He just dodges it. Who needs magic resist? When
He's
you can
both.
just dodge skill shots.
He is both. It's going to be a nice Cosmic Binding finds two members. BDD going to take a bit from the True Shot Barrage that gets thrown out. Of course, Bang won't have that for a little while, as it was nerfed a little bit. Takes a good amount of damage from that double sigil. Bard ultimately gets thrown out. Only going to find Duke, however. Not sure if CJ want to follow up on that one. Dredgeline barely going to miss as Kramer dashes away.
It's good though. BD found the target he needed to. They force Bang back in spite of the fact that he has a lot of lifesteal right now, or at least some, with the help of his Blade of the Ruin King. Still working up for some additional armor penetration, has the last Whisper.
Yeah, of course, you know, he's not running the Warlords, is using Fervor of Battle, so not going to have as much lifesteal as some other AD carries with the Blade of the Rune King. But inhibitor down for CJ. This is just looking pretty grim as they're not able to find the picks that are necessary to get a lead.
Yeah, I mean, 42 minutes. If CJ doesn't have a big lead with this composition, you're just not going to be able to do much. SK Telecom has too much magic resist. You're too reliant on Kramer. SK Telecom has 3 legitimate carry threats at this point. You know, it's not that the Kindred can't do anything, but the LeBlanc offers just so much less in a straight-up team fight than the Azir in terms of peeling for the AD carries and for outputting consistently huge amount of damage. Also, just much harder to control objectives because Azir does very well with zone control and blocking you off in choke points, so you can't come into the Baron, you can't come into the Dragon.
Yep.
BDD started strong, but they just didn't play well enough around him, and some of the BDD split pushing resulted in lost towers too, and that kept SK Telecom in the game long enough to get to this point.
Yep. Also a few kills given up a little unnecessarily by the side of CJ earlier on in the game.
Well, I don't fault Bubbling for thinking he was somewhat safe right there. Only Faker can do those Azir plays onto you, or will be confident enough to do them to create these picks.
Fair enough. Try to clear out that ward. Cosmic Binding not going to land, and CJ just going to have to back off yet again. Dredgeline, though, connects on a Mad Life, gets locked in by the Nautilus, has to flash away. And that's a canceled teleport by Untara. Not sure why you would want to follow that one up.
Yeah, it's trying to get away. They got a TP and a flash just for that.
Yeah.
Now Faker here, he is the 6-item Azir. He's going to be doing a huge amount of damage.
Going over onto Bubbling, has to flash the wall to get out.
You can see SK Telecom just taking away summoner after summoner after summoner from CJ Entus. Now they've got a minion wave moving up for another tier 2 turret. They have super minions at the mouth of the base. Rod Portal is now dead. We'll be able to take that minion wave eventually and start moving it up for another turret kill.
Yep, they should be able to take this tower so easily. CJ gonna have to try to make something happening. Probably getting grabbed up, already down to half HP as he leaps away. Tara in the thick of things here. Gonna try to tank up the brunt of this damage. BDD goes into the backside, finds Blank, but
Faker.
barely gonna do any damage. Faker goes in deep. The Lamb's Respite there, keeping him alive. The heal comes through, but it's not gonna be enough. And Tara finds that kill. So far, though, it's just a 2-for-1, a 3-for-1 in favor of SKT, Mad Life, and BDD. The 2 remaining members on the run are gonna go down. They do find Bang. Actually, Mad Life for the Magical Journey trying to get out of here, but Duke shows up with the Sunfire Cape, burns him out for the rest of that kill, and BDD unable to recall. Wolf on the chase. Blank is just going to take down the base of CJ Entus.
Yeah, he's going to just fire it through right here. He's playing around with BDD right now. Chain's going to miss. Sigil will land.
Yep, and BDD just going to have to run yet again as the base crumbles. Wolf with the flash over the wall. He's going to get caught. He's going to die, but it's all for naught as Blank and Duke finish off the Nexus towers and the Nexus to follow. SKT taking game 1 over CJ.
Yeah, it is all for Nautilus. I agree.
All for Nautilus.
As Duke comes in, BDD getting stunned. There's the proc on the Sterix, and that's going to be an ace for SK Telecom. Win for T1.
Yep. Solid stuff. 10.3 thousand gold lead by the end of that game. Started off slow. These guys were less than 100 gold away for several